Hi everyone, this is Jillian from Jewish Workshops. It is a pleasure to be joining all of you today, and we are extremely privileged to have Rabbi Manis Friedman on the line. Before we get started, I'd love to see who's joining us and where you're from. So if you could just go to the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see a question box, and you can go ahead and write your first name or your initials and where you're joining us from so I can go ahead and welcome you. Welcome, Renee from San Jose and Jane from Pittsburgh. Welcome, Nadine. Welcome, Mordechai, Khani. Oh my goodness. Okay, names are flying in right now. So let me see if I can get everyone. Welcome, Devora from Israel and Libby from New Jersey. Welcome, MN from Israel and Miriam from Mexico. DS from Detroit. Welcome. Sarah from Passaic. Yaakov from Vegas, Esther from New York, welcome, Clara from Haradar, and Leah from Israel, and MS from Baltimore, Ben from Paris, welcome, G from Muncie, Daniel from Minneapolis, Chaya from Brooklyn, welcome, Shirley from Costa Rica, and Shlomo from New York. Welcome, Raphael from Paris, and Benjamin from New Jersey. Welcome, Gila, Howard from Boca Raton, and Cynthia from Arkansas. Welcome. Leslie from Harnof, DS and AS from New Jersey. Welcome. Gal from New York City, Hannah from Motown, Tammy from Minnesota, Shaul from New York City. Welcome. We've got people from Argentina and England, and Benjamin from Skokie. Avi and Rachel from Muncie, welcome. Angela from Wisconsin, Lori from Israel, Ruben from San Antonio, Texas, welcome. And Chaya from Portland, Shoshana from New York, Keith from Louisiana, Miriam from Muncie, N from Texas, Rita from Ottawa. We have hundreds and hundreds of people pouring in right now. I wish I could get to every single one of you. It would probably take our entire hour up right now. I will try to get to a few more, but really welcome everyone who is joining in right now. Welcome Barry from Boca and AP from England, G from Argentina, and Honi from Israel, T and S from Israel, R and Z from Lakewood. Welcome Desiree, welcome Michal from New Jersey, Adina from BK, Moshe from Los Angeles, welcome, EK from Detroit, Rebecca from London, Sheila from California, Baruch from England, KT from Finland. This is unbelievable. This is truly a worldwide event, and we are so appreciative that everybody is here joining us today. It's absolutely incredible to see people from all across the world coming in, just hundreds and hundreds at every interval. So welcome to everyone. I just want to make sure you know we're most likely going to hit capacity. We can only fit 1,000 people on the line at one time. So please just make sure you don't leave in the middle because you'll very likely be locked out, and I don't want you to miss even a minute of this today. From the time Jewish Workshops began, we've offered a variety of programs on marriage, relationships, personal growth and introspection, and so many more, but never before have we had the opportunity to open the doors to world-renowned philosopher, author, and counselor, Rabbi Manis Friedman. Countless emails and phone calls have come in requesting guidance in one of the most sensitive areas of our lives. So we asked Rabbi Friedman to introduce to us today his unique insights and perspective on the true meaning of intimacy. Make sure to stay on till the end so that you can hear this one-time chance to join Rabbi Friedman for a full online program at a special discounted rate just for attending today. It is a supreme honor to be hosting Rabbi Friedman. As I just mentioned, he is a world-renowned author, counselor, lecturer, and philosopher who uses ancient wisdom and modern wit as he captivates his audiences around the world. Over 150,000 copies of his provocative yet entertaining tapes, both audio and video, have been sold, and his widely praised book, Doesn't Anyone Blush Anymore, is in its 4th printing. Rabbi Friedman has also been featured internationally in over 200 print articles and interviewed on more than 50 television and radio talk shows. He has appeared on CNN, A&E Reviews, PBS, and BBC Worldwide, and has been the subject of articles in the New York Times, Rolling Stones, 17, and so many others. Rabbi Friedman, we are so grateful to have you here joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and pass the microphone over to you. Welcome. How are you today?
Thank God, very excited.
Good. If you actually go ahead and you can click on the camera icon so we can see you. Okay, perfect.
Great,
Welcome. Thank you.
thank you. So we're going to explore, as you said, a very sensitive and very crucial part of life, which is our intimate life. But we need to know what intimate means, actually. We know there's a problem, there's a serious problem, because the media has completely destroyed every concept, every notion of intimacy, and has turned life into a series of performances, of projects, of celebrityhood. We're all looking for attention, but in the wrong places, in the wrong way. We value each other incorrectly for the wrong things, and we end up paying a price. Let's begin with the most painful of all, and that is the feeling of being alone. I think most people will admit that there are moments when they, even though they're married, and maybe even happily married, and yet there are moments where they feel alone. Have you had that experience? Alone in a very painful area. We're not lonely. We're surrounded by people. We're not isolated. But with all the people in our lives, we still feel alone at moments. Which means that our aloneness has not gone away. We keep ourselves busy. We are social creatures. We're cosmopolitan. We're everywhere. We have many friends, but somehow the intimate friend, that connection that takes away the aloneness, that somehow hasn't happened for many of us. There's a problem with intimacy, a natural problem, and that is familiarity. When we become familiar with someone, it's very hard to maintain a dignified, respectful, appreciative, and meaningful relationship. Familiarity breeds contempt. It's a truth. It's a truism. How can you be married and not become overly familiar? And when we become familiar, it's devastating. There's got to be some way that we can create a closeness and a familiarity that doesn't destroy, that enhances the relationship rather than lead to negative loss of respect. And you've seen it, maybe you've experienced it. When a couple don't get along properly, when the couple are not respecting each other, when the familiarity has brought some contempt, even the nicest people, otherwise nice people, become unbelievably nasty. The way couples treat each other when it's not working is so nasty. It is so cruel. It's so inhumane that you would be surprised and shocked at yourself and certainly at others. So you hear somebody complain that their spouse is vicious, is critical, is punishing, and you don't believe it. You say, but everybody knows your husband or your wife. They're the nicest people. Something's fishy here. Something's wrong. They can't both be true. And yet they are both true. A nice person, a good person, a sensitive person in his marriage, in his relationship that is supposed to be intimate, there's contempt. And contempt is a really ugly word. It's worse than hate. Hate is a kind of a relationship, like negative attention that children sometimes want. But it's a relationship. Contempt is purely destructive. It's all bad. There's no positive side to it. And so the result is that we are starting to doubt the need or the goodness of marriage in general. Why be married? Why have children? We're afraid of this intimacy thing because we don't know what it is. The unknown is scary. And the little bit that we do know of how close and how joined a couple become when they have an intimate relationship, somehow that closeness actually scares us. We wouldn't know how to handle it. We wouldn't know how to deal with it. And we see in our society that we are terrified of intimacy because of the language that we use. When a couple, married or not, are having an intimate relationship, or what is supposed to be an intimate relationship, they will never call it that. They'll say we're dating. A nonsense word, means nothing, describes nothing. We're seeing someone. We're going with someone. What are these metaphors? Why can't we just say we're having an intimate relationship? We're emotionally entangled. We've become attached because we don't trust it. We're afraid of it. What if I tell you that I'm emotionally entangled, emotionally involved, committed, attached, and then it's over? Well, then I have to deal with the heartbreak. That's a social problem. There's another problem, and that is that we've become very competitive. It's like, if I'm going to get married, I want to marry the best girl in town, the most eligible, the most desirable, which, of course, every other man wants the same. So we're in competition. And if we're in competition, I have to outdo, outperform, outshine everybody else to get the most attention. That makes me a little bit of a narcissist. Plus, it makes you the enemy. A woman wants to get married, she has to outshine all the other women because they're all competing for the same eligible bachelor. And so every woman becomes your enemy, your competition. And even after you're married, you still have to outshine, outdo, outperform. It's a constant battle. And you're never secure, you're never sure, you can't relax, you can't breathe. Did you ever hear people say, if you took better care of yourself and you were better looking and you were more attentive to your husband, then he wouldn't stray. He wouldn't be attracted by other women. What kind of a veiled threat is that? Your husband will stray unless you do something to keep him interested. That's a horrible way to live. The pressure, the tension, the responsibility, the uncertainty, it's terrible. Not to mention the effect on children. What has happened to the family fabric? Way too often, you see children who behave in a way that implies that they don't feel connected to their family at all. There is no attachment, there is no loyalty, there certainly is no gratitude. They're like strangers in their own home, by their own choosing. There's a coldness, an indifference, a jadedness. Where is that coming from? Where is the nurturing ingredient? Where is the nurturing factor that turns a house into a home. So we end up being afraid of our children. We're afraid to criticize, we're afraid to discipline, we're afraid to say anything, because then we're going to destroy our children, and they're going to hate us, and they're going to rebel. Way too painful to live this way. And so we have this conversation in 4 parts. We've got to find some solutions, and not make up solutions, not new experiments, which always disappoint. We need some values that have been around for a long time, that have worked in the past, that we have neglected or forgotten, and we need to bring them back. We want something solid. We want something with a proven record. We want what our grandparents had. Yes, they had difficult lives, but the difficulties were all from the outside. There was anti-Semitism, there was poverty, there was disease, but the home was solid. It was a home. It was a nurturing place. So we need to rediscover these things. So what we need to find out is, number one, what is intimacy? What does it mean? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What is the difference between being physically active, sexually active, but not intimate? What has become to the most intimate activity that has turned it into a performance, into a social obligation, into a way to fight loneliness unsuccessfully? So what is the difference between the non-intimate physical relationships that we call sex and true intimacy, the way the Torah perceives it, the way healthy people in the past have always treated intimacy? How do we get along? How do we live together under the same roof day after day, sharing all sorts of activities without becoming familiar in a destructive way? How do we create a nurturing environment that our children love to be home, never want to leave? How do we bring some dignity, some elegance to our relationships without becoming stiff and formal? There's brilliance here. There's great wisdom here. And like somebody once said, I don't need any advice on how to have sex. Thank you very much. I don't need the Torah, and I don't need the rules. I know I can handle it myself. And of course, that's true. We don't need much advice when it comes to sex. And yet, look at all the articles, all the columns, all the talk shows, all the books and movies obsessed with sex. And yet we're getting nowhere. Because as much as we talk about it, and as much as we promote it, and as much as we say it's beautiful, it's making love, it'll keep, all we need is love, making love to keep us together. It makes the world go round. When you're in love, everything's great. When you're having good sex, life is wonderful. It's not working. Because we're missing this very fundamental ingredient, which is intimacy. Intimacy means, as we will discuss in future conversations, intimacy means two people seeing each other without any distraction, without any interference, coming from things about each other. When a relationship deteriorates to where I love you because of something, I love something about you, I love 2 things about you, 5 things. I love everything about you. I still don't love you. Take away all these things I love about you, and there's nothing left. Intimacy means I need you. You, not something about you. Of course, this is a difficult concept for most people. How would you explain this? How would you describe this? You say, I just want you. I just want you. Well, what do you want? From me? Nothing. Well, then, so if you've ever complained to your husband and you said, you know, I don't feel like I really have you, and your husband said, well, what do you want? You say, I don't want anything. I just want you. Well, what about me do you want? Well, nothing. That's where the communication breaks down, and he thinks you're making him crazy, and you think he doesn't get it. Now, even women don't get it. What is the you besides the things about you? We need to talk about this. We need to get to understand this. How does a physical relationship involving two bodies, not souls, souls can merge. They're not physical. But bodies, how do two bodies get along? Each body has only its own experience. It knows only its own senses. It experiences only itself. And even if you are the source of my pleasure, the pleasure I'm feeling is just me. You can't feel it, just as I can't feel your pleasure. So how do two bodies actually become one and not interfere in this intimacy? So intimate in emotions, soulfully intimate, that's doable, understandable, familiar. But what's physical intimacy? How do our bodies not keep us separate? That's another profound subject. Why does marriage involve a man and a woman? Why does intimacy involve a man and a woman? What is it a man needs from a woman? We don't really know. You would think such a simple question, such a basic, fundamental thing. What do you need a woman for? And sex is not a good answer. You don't need a woman for sex. There are other forms of sex. It doesn't have to be a woman, and it doesn't have to be a man. So what exactly is the attraction of male to female, female to male? In what way do we need each other? The only place we're going to get a good answer is from the Torah. So we will talk about that as well. How does that affect children? How does the intimacy between the parents, the relationship between the parents at the time of conception, how does that contribute to the welfare of a child that's going to be born? How does that affect his behavior? How does that affect his emotions? How does that affect his mind, his thinking, his personality? We're making the baby. What are we making the baby out of? If there's contempt, that's not a good ingredient. If there's distance, if there's indifference, if there's coldness between parents, if it's just a habit of being physical, of being together, if that's what produces a child, is that a good ingredient? So we've got a huge subject here, huge subject. And it's probably true that if the bedroom is healthy, the problems that exist in the rest of the house will probably solve themselves. When the bedroom is healthy, everything becomes healthier. And when the bedroom is not healthy, the marriage is not healthy. It's not just a detail. It's the core. It's the essence of the whole thing. So we got to talk about what is marriage, what is male and female, what is intimacy, what creates the baby, what is good for the baby, what is not good for the baby. We got to start to live. This is our life. This is where we live. And this is what's going to produce the future generation, life in the future. So you're very wise to be joining in this conversation. And once you understand it, once you get it, once you hear it, you've got to share it with everyone you know. Because in some degree, we all have this problem. We can all use a little improvement in the elegance, in the sanctity, in the wisdom, in the goodness of our intimate relationship. There's always room for improvement. And every little improvement changes everything. It changes everything. So hearing all the pain, all the complaints, all the unhappiness, all the frustrations that come from not knowing how to be intimate, or not having been intimate, not even trying, it's too painful. There's no reason we have to live with this pain. The Torah has given us the answers, has guided us, has directed us. And although we need no advice and no wisdom to have sex, we need a lot of wisdom and a lot of guidance, and maybe even some laws, some rules on how to develop intimacy, how to protect it, how to enhance it, and how to grow year by year into greater intimacy. You know, when you see a couple who have been married like forever, and they still have that little spark, they're still a little bashful with each other. As familiar as they are after 60 years of marriage, they're still a little careful, thoughtful about what they say to each other and how they talk to each other. That is so amazing. But that's the way it's supposed to be for everybody. It shouldn't be the exception. So let's get to the real business. Let's get to the real stuff. And as I said, once you know something, share it. Share it. Get people involved. Tell them there's hope. And by the way, this is not like a difficult project. This is not like losing weight, which is really difficult. Changing your diet is very difficult. This is not. This is something we desperately want. It is something that is natural to the condition, the mentality of male and female. We are designed for intimacy. We suffer when we don't have it. We don't have to convince anybody to want it. And the reason that we're not there yet is simply because we weren't given the information. And this is true of everybody, religious, non-religious, Jewish or non-Jewish. For religious people who should know what the Torah says about the subject, we've got a problem because part of the tradition is that we don't talk about the subject. It's part of our modesty that we don't talk about the subject. And that's appropriate. It's proper. Shouldn't be talking about the subject. This webinar should not be happening at all. Parents, in the privacy of their home, should educate their children about intimacy. It's not happening. So it turns out that our hesitation, our reticence, and refusal to talk about the subject is not enhancing the modesty of our relationships, of our behavior. It's destroying us. So in some discreet, modest way, We must talk about it. Because if we don't know, then we can't function. If we don't know, we can't be held responsible. And we need to know. So we will do this very modestly, in good taste, sticking strictly to Torah values, to the sanctity of the marriage, the sanctity of the relationship, being aware that God is a partner in this whole thing, and that this is his idea, this is his view of how two bodies can become one. So do we need to break down the classes that are going to come? Do we need
Sure.
to describe
We actually
each?
we have a question that just came in based on what you were talking about. So before we move on, I'd like to address, she said, Rabbi, I'm aware that, and I've heard that if things are okay in the bedroom, the rest will work itself out. However, there are no problems in the bedroom, but I still feel that there's an emptiness and lack of intimacy within the relationship itself.
I think once we explore this whole subject and get to a true understanding of intimacy, you will discover that it's missing in the bedroom too. You know, we assume that if two people walk into a bedroom and become physically active, that's intimacy. That should be intimacy. Unfortunately, it is very easy for the intimacy to disappear, and we're left just with physical acrobatics, which may be enjoyable, it may be good, but it's not intimacy. And that's where we need to really understand the difference. Of course, you know, we say there are certain parts of the body that are intimate. There are certain activities that are intimate. So if you're involved in those activities with your body, you're being intimate. On the contrary, the painful thing is you're using an intimate behavior. You're using intimate parts of your body, and you're not doing it intimately. So there's not only a lack of intimacy, there's also a frustration, because you expect intimacy. But you can't just expect it. You have to understand it, and you have to make it happen. So we really need to explore this, the meaning of intimacy.
Can we just get a little sneak peek as to what that would be so that we have a better understanding as to where to even get started?
Yeah. Let's talk about it in the negative first. What can get in the way of intimacy? Anything. Anything. Intimacy means two people having gotten past all things are connecting with each other, person to person. You do that by removing all things that come between you. With the best of intentions, a couple can be engaged in intimacy, and then some sound from the house, from another room, distracts them. The intimacy is gone. Something has now come between them. So any little distraction, any ulterior motive can ruin the intimacy. For example, the desire to show off, to perform admirably, kills the intimacy. Because it's not about her, it's not about him, it's about it. So here's the key. Here's where we give ourselves away. A couple are intimate, or meant to be intimate, and afterwards one asks the other, so how was it? How was it? That tells you that they were not focused on each other. Excuse me. There was an it in the room. It was only supposed to be them. No it. So, for example, the expression making love. You're making love. Love is an activity or an emotion. It's a something. If your objective is love, if you're trying to prove your love, express your love, show your love, make love, whatever that means, it's not intimacy. Intimacy means no thing, just you. Just you. And you are not a thing. And that's the difference between intimacy and pornography. Pornography is always about something. It's never about the person. It can be something about the person, but it's not the person. So I think the bumper sticker for this whole thing would be, nothing about your husband is more important than your husband. Makes for a nice slogan, but we need to understand what that means. So
thank you so much. I think that really opened up a lot more for what people were looking for. And we actually did just get another question that asked about, and we're going to go ahead and start talking about the classes that are coming up. I'll get all of the details to everyone who's putting into the question box and they're asking already. But we just want to know, are we going to also be discussing how to create intimacy that is not just physical? And can we just touch on that for a minute before we move forward?
we certainly will. But not just physical is not a correct sentiment. If you can be intimate physically, you've broken through the laws of nature, and you have transcended something that we wouldn't have thought was possible. If you can be intimate physically, that's nothing short of a miracle. Emotionally intimate, you can be emotionally intimate with other people even while you're married, and you should be. You should be emotionally intimate with your best friend. You should be emotionally intimate with your parents. You should be emotionally intimate with your mentor if you have one. But physically intimate is awesome. It really is above nature. It is this holiest, the most sacred thing that human beings can achieve and create without a mitzvah. Because if we do a mitzvah, that's holy. But what can a human being do that is holy? The only thing we know of is the intimacy that is physical. So when two bodies can become one, then we've become the miracle. So it's not just physical intimacy. Don't dismiss it. Just physical, that I understand. It's just sex, yes, that makes sense, because it's pretty much meaningless. And by the way, we will talk about this. The difference, one of the differences between what is commonly called sex, which today I'm not even sure it's sex. I think we just play games. But even if it's really sex, it's not intimate. And the difference is, sex diminishes people. After being sexual, you feel diminished. Whether it bothers you or not is a separate question. But there's a loss of self-respect to some degree. And there's a loss of respect for the person you're sexual with. It's inevitable. It's the nature of the act. It diminishes us. It takes us down a notch. Most people don't care. The pleasure of it makes up for the loss of respect or dignity or whatever. But it does cost you something. You're a little diminished. Intimacy is the exact opposite. Having achieved real intimacy between husband and wife, physical intimacy, you feel more innocent afterwards than you did before. They're worlds apart. So sex diminishes, intimacy brings you to a higher level of innocence. And that's the magic of marriage. Having been physical for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, how is it still elegant, dignified, meaningful, profound? How has it not lost its magic? Intimacy never loses its magic. Sex becomes boring. They're very different. So yes, there are other forms of intimacy, and they're very important, but there's the unique intimacy of marriage that we really need to focus on.
And do you need to be emotionally connected before you're physically intimate to create that higher power, so to speak?
That's a tricky question. What exactly do we mean by emotional? You walk away from the chuppah, from the marriage ceremony. You are now fully married. How are you doing emotionally? Emotionally, you're going to grow. You're going to discover each other. The love hopefully will increase radically. What you think is love now, wait till you get to the real stuff. You will become dependent on each other. You'll turn to each other for support, comfort. A lot of emotions are going to grow and be added on. But you're already married. You will not be more married. You can't be more married than married. Is that an emotion? That feeling, we are now married, you call that an emotion, or is that a fact? It's a fact. We're married. Legally, by definition, in the eyes of God, we are now married. Is that an emotion? It actually is a very powerful emotion. I am now never going to be alone. That's a powerful emotion. So, does the marriage depend on emotions? Does the intimacy depend on emotions? Only one. All other emotions are going to interfere. Even love will interfere with intimacy. Because if love becomes your thing, then you are married to love, not to him, not to her. And we need to talk about that. The place of love in an intimate relationship. So of course, love is necessary, but it's not a definition of intimacy. Intimacy is beyond love. Just a quick example. In Fiddler on the Roof, Tevye asks Golda, "Do you love me?" And if you remember, what did Golda say? First she says, "Do I what?" As if she never heard the word and doesn't know what it means. Well, what is her answer? Her answer is, for 25 years I've washed your clothes, I've whatever, made your meals, I've shared your bed. Is that an answer? Does she really not know what love is? Laundry and meals and service and what is that? But the truth is that she's giving the only correct answer. She's much wiser, more mature than Tevye. She's saying, do you want to know whether you're getting my love, whether I'm giving you my love? For 25 years, I've given myself to you. Me, all of me. If that's not love, then what is? Very wise answer. So is intimacy, is marriage, is belonging to each other, becoming one, is that an emotion? It is an emotion of sorts, but it's so much more. It's so much more than any one emotion. You have me, which of course brings all of my emotions along. But if that's not love, then what is? So does intimacy depend on emotions? Intimacy is beyond emotions. I'm not looking for love. I'm not looking for comfort. I'm not looking for security. I'm not looking for your sense of humor. I'm not looking for your money. I'm not looking for your services. You have to be in my life. And in a moment of physical intimacy, that's all you experience. Each other. Does that sound a little mystical? Does that sound a little elusive? It's awesome.
Thank you so much. I have so many questions coming in, but the number one question seems to be how you can continue on and join Rabbi Friedman for the full course. So let me give you the details on how this journey will continue so you can begin signing up now. The full course includes 3 master classes, the theory, the practical, and the result, and then a live 2-hour Q&A to get all of your sensitive questions answered in an anonymous forum. So session 1, the theory. Remove the modern software and replace with the oldest and most reliable marriage operating system. Plus, get answers to these burning questions. If I'm married to myself, how do I fit my husband or wife into this marriage? What are the negative effects of the mashpia becoming the makabel? And how much of our marriage is focused on my needs and my wants? Then, session 2, the practical steps to remove the tainted picture of secular, selfish, influenced intimacy and replace with a Torah-true relationship. Discover the role the physical plays in intimacy and how to get out of yourself in order to truly be intimate. Then in session 3, the result, practical steps for raising the level of Kedusha in your most private and holy part of your marriage. Learn how the way you approach intimacy will affect your children. And then finally, the live 2-hour Q&A to get all of your questions answered in an anonymous forum. Now, I know that these weeks leading up to Pesach can be busy, so we've decided to give you immediate access to the 3 master classes to listen to and download at your convenience. That way, you won't have to schedule a specific day and time to attend. Rather, you can find a time that's convenient for you and your schedule to watch each video, take notes, and begin implementing these important tools immediately. Then, once Pesach is over, we'll meet for a live online 2-hour Q&A, Thursday, April 27th, so that you can get all of your questions answered and still remain anonymous. Before the class, you'll have an opportunity to send in your questions in case you can't make it to the live class. You'll still be able to get your answers to your personal questions. Plus, you can also then get the recording of the class for the 2-hour Q&A and still hear the answers. So as soon as you register, you'll receive access to your own personal membership area that you can log into with your username and passcode that will be provided to you. And there you'll find all 3 master classes to listen to and download at your convenience. If you find that you spend more time out of the house than in the house, you can download the classes to a mobile device or an iPad or an iPod and listen to it anytime and anywhere. Really, the key is here to make all of these classes as accessible as possible and make it easy for you to be able to start implementing these into your life. Plus, in addition to the master classes, you'll also get 9 Secrets to a Good Marriage, a 4-part series that explores a refreshing and extremely human view on how to have happier, healthier, and lasting marriages. And Getting to Like the People You Love, an insightful 14-part series that examines the nature of relationships, their godly dimensions, and the secrets to getting along with the people you can't get along without. Every relationship demands wisdom and thoughtfulness. Now you'll have more understanding, guiding you towards a more meaningful family life. So as you can see, Rabbi Friedman will be walking you through all aspects of marriage and family relationships, and you will have the unique opportunity to get your personal questions answered that you haven't been able to get answered previously. But most importantly, by investing in yourself and your marriage now, you'll discover how to connect in a way that makes you feel cherished and appreciated, allowing you to find your inner strength, confidence, and happiness. Avoid growing distant and taking each other for granted by pursuing closeness through dignity and respect. Protect the sanctity of your marriage and never feel lonely, unloved, or unsatisfied again. Escape complacency and reignite the passion and desire in your relationship. Work together to ensure that each other's needs are being fulfilled by reconnecting, understanding, and appreciating your spouse. And rebuild trust and respect through forgiveness, compassion, and effective communication. Now, the last time we offered this special course, the first 100 spots got filled up in a matter of 24 hours. So at the request of our members, we brought back this opportunity to come to an anonymous place as a couple and get the guidance you need and deserve to refresh and renew your relationship alongside a one-of-a-kind mentor. Plus, to make it accessible to everyone, we are also offering payment plan options when you register. And as an attendee today, I did mention that instead of paying the hugely discounted price of $497, you'll only pay $397 for the next 24 hours only. So I want to make sure that I can get you that link. I'm going to go ahead and put it into your chat box now so you can secure your spot at this special additional discounted rate. And as I mentioned, when you do click on the Register Now button, there will be payment plan options available. So you can pick whatever you're comfortable with and make sure that you grab your spot. So let me go ahead and share the link with you now. I'm going to go ahead and put it right into your chat box, and then you can copy and paste it into your browser. I will also keep it here on the screen for you too. It's www.jewishworkshops.com/Rabbi Friedman. And when you click on the Register Now button, as I mentioned, you'll be immediately redirected to the order form, and there you'll be given payment plan options that best fit your needs. Once you're all set and registered, I'd love it if you would just come back to your question box and write your initials or your first name and the words "I'm in" so I can welcome you to the community. And of course, if you're having any difficulties registering or you have any questions, please just come back and put your name and your telephone number in so we can give you a call and help you register over the phone. I do have people standing by to make sure that we get to you as quickly as possible. So please just come back, put your name and your telephone number in, and like I said, we will make sure that we can get in touch with you so that we can save your spot at this special rate. I do see that people are starting to join already, so I just want to remind you, come on back and put the words "I'm in" with your initials so that I can see how many spots are being taken up. Like I said, last time the first 100 got snatched up within the first 24 hours, so we do want to try to keep the community as intimate as possible. Like I said, the last class that we're going to do live with Rabbi Friedman for the 2-hour Q&A, we want to make sure that we can get to your personal questions. We want to make sure that we can give you as many personalized solutions as possible. So we do have to keep the community at a normal size to make sure that we can do that effectively. So let me go ahead and share that link one more time. And as people are coming in, I do want to go ahead and welcome our newest members. Oh, this is so sweet. It says, "We're in." I love seeing couples doing this together. So welcome DS and AS. That's so nice to see that you're here together. Welcome CL, RM, welcome. Welcome Gail. I'm sorry. Welcome YE. Welcome Chaya Sarah. Nice to have you as well. And welcome Lewis. Excellent. Okay, if you continue to go ahead and sign up, please, like I said, just come back and let us know. I would be happy to welcome you. And yes, in answer to your question, Susie, Once you are on the page www.jewishworkshops.com/Rabbi Friedman, you can just go ahead and scroll down. You'll see a big Register Now button. Once you click that, your payment plan options come into play on the order form. So you can choose whatever best fits your needs. You can pay all at once for just one payment of $397 today only, or you can choose from different payment plan options that best fit your needs. So as I get all these questions that are coming in, I do want to come back to Rabbi Friedman. I'd love, Rabbi Friedman, if you could just give us a little sneak peek into this first session, which everyone will get immediately after registering. So actually, you can continue to sign up. You can go just copy and paste from the chat box. I put the link in there. You can copy and paste it into a different browser, and that way you can still listen to what's going on in the webinar right now. So Rabbi Friedman, this class speaks about the Mashpia and the Makabel. And I don't think that we really touched upon that in today's introduction. I know, from listening to some of your other classes, I have an idea of what you're talking about. But for everyone else that's on the line, if they haven't heard you speak about this previously, can you just give us a little sneak peek into what that really means and what we're going to be learning in this first session?
I'm glad you mentioned people who have listened, who have heard these concepts before, but every time we talk about it, something new comes up. And there's, like any profound subject, there's no end. It gets deeper and better every time we talk about it, think about it, and discuss it. One of the things we need to understand in order to get to intimacy is the unique way in which men and women achieve intimacy, because men and women are different from each other. So there's a masculine way and there's a feminine way. And when the man is a man and the woman is a woman, intimacy happens naturally. But what is a man and what is a woman? There's another subject we've gotten very confused about. Because the secular world wants to convince us that there is really no difference. And that biology is not destiny, as they were saying back in the 60s. So we need to understand what is the masculine mentality and what is the feminine mentality. And I mentioned it a little bit without using the Hebrew words, Makabel and Mashpia. In marriage, there is no give and take, because there can be no take. Between two human beings, there is no taking. That's called kidnapping. It's called a crime. You don't take a person. You either give or you receive. There's no taking. Giving is the masculine psyche, and receiving is the feminine psyche. When there is something the woman is willing to receive and the man is willing to give, then you have a possibility for intimacy. When the giving is wholehearted and the receiving is unconditional, you have intimacy. So we need to describe what is the male mentality and what is the female mentality, what is good about them, what is the weakness within them, so that we know where we stand and we know what we're supposed to be doing. That itself is worth the entire course. So even if we wouldn't talk about intimacy, just to get to know what a man is and what a woman is, not according to the secular wisdom, but according to Torah wisdom, that itself is worth the entire course.
Thank you so much. There was one other thing I think in that first class. Oh no, that was, I think that was the biggest question. Okay, great. So before we get to some of the questions coming in right now, I do want to answer some specific questions. I had a person ask to see what the bonuses included again, so let me just go back quickly to that. and get your question answered so that you can go ahead and secure your spot. And before I do, I'm going to explain that in just a minute, but I do want to welcome C is in, LS, and RB. Welcome. I saw that you had just put your names in right when we started answering that last question, so I didn't want to miss in welcoming you. We're really glad to have you as part of the community. And then I did see also Linda was asking for the link one more time. So I'm going to put that again into your chat box. It might come up on your screen as question box. It should be on the control panel of the GoToWebinar right on the side of your screen. And we did have just a request from someone who's listening in on their phone. If you're listening in on your phone, then you can actually just go ahead and either leave your name and telephone number. We'd be happy to give you a call. Or it looks like this person was asking if we could send the link right to their email address. We'd be happy to do that as well. As soon as the workshop is over, you can go check your emails and sign up that way. So just leave us your telephone number or your email address, and you can go ahead and secure your spot. And welcome, Sebastian is in. Great. And Pazia, welcome. Wonderful to see you. CR, welcome. I'm so glad to have you as well. Okay, so getting back to the bonuses, as I mentioned, you'll also have access to 2 huge courses on their own, special bonuses that you will have available to you in your own personal membership area, where you can listen to those at your convenience anytime you have some extra time in your schedule or make extra time in your schedule. The first course is called 9 Secrets to a Good Marriage, and that's going to really focus in on creating wonderful shalom bayis and exploring and a refreshing and extremely human view on how to have happier, healthier, and lasting marriages. So those classes really go over the fundamentals. It speaks again also about a male and female role. Talks a lot about having a home full of dignity, respect, and modesty, really everything that is all-encompassing for a marriage. We're going to go through in the workshop itself on the lasting intimacy. We'll really talk about the physical and the emotional and how to create that intimate relationship. But there are other parts, as Rabbi Friedman was mentioning, outside of the bedroom that also will work themselves out if you have these other fundamentals and concepts. Learning about chesed and giving and generosity and sensitivity. One of those, the classes also include consideration and communication. I listened to these 9 secrets, and I can tell you that it was so different. Just the perspective was really unique, and I felt like I was opened up to concepts that obviously I think all of us have heard before, but Rabbi Friedman's approach and the way that he's able to present these concepts is really eye-opening. So I know that you'll enjoy that. And then there's a 14-part series on getting to like the people you love. I love that title too. The secrets to getting along with the people you can't get along without. So we'll really delve into different types of relationships, parent-child relationships, adult parents and children dealing with each other, or adult children and parents, mentors. Also, definitely a lot of marriage topics coming and talking about different ways to relate to your spouse. So it's not only that you're getting an entire course on building your intimate relationship and making sure that that is healthy and close and connected, but you'll also be getting an entire other series on relationships in general. So we're going to really cover the whole gamut here and make sure that along the way, as I mentioned, you understand that this is not something that you're struggling with alone. There are a number of people out there who may also have questions that were similar to yours. So in a community setting like this, you'll hear what other people's questions are, and you in turn will learn how to better your relationship as well. So let me just get back here. As I mentioned, today only for the next 24 hours, you do have the special webinar attendee rate of just $397, and there are payment plan options available. Let me actually just let me show you quickly here. so that everyone understands. This is what's going to pop up when you go to www.jewishworkshops.com/Rabbi Friedman. You'll see everything that you're going to get, everything that's included in the course, plus that special webinar attendee fee. When you hit on the Register Now button, that takes you right to the order form. All you need to do is fill out your contact details, and right here you should see payment plan options. You can go ahead for that one single payment, pay it all off right now, or you can choose 2, 3, or 4 payments. Okay, let me go ahead and get back to questions that are coming in. I want to make sure that we don't miss any. And if you are still having any difficulties technically with any of the signing up, please just come back and put your name and number right into this chat box. If you're in and I haven't welcomed you yet, please feel free to come back and just put your initials or your first name, and I will be sure to welcome you. Sorry, I'm just trying to get to the questions that were coming in earlier. Okay, Rabbi Friedman, we did have a few questions come in. There were actually several questions, all on the same note. The couple, the husband and wife, are on 2 different spiritual and religious levels. One spouse is a little bit more religious, one is a little bit less, and they feel that that connection is lacking, and then in turn really affecting their intimate relationship. What can a couple in that situation do?
Yes, that's something we're going to need to talk about. Obviously, this is a cooperative effort. This is a couple growing, not individuals growing. And so you do not move off unilaterally and start a new project or change your lifestyle or make demands. You've got to grow together. And of course, growing together is usually instigated by one party, but the objective is to get both parties to grow. So if you're inspired and you want to upgrade your intimacy, you've got to do it with cooperation. You've got to do it together slowly and let it take its natural course. Every improvement brings another improvement. Once you start climbing up the ladder, your direction has changed and it'll continue going upwards. And it's also important to know that even if you haven't been pursuing intimacy properly and you've gotten into bad habits of just plain sexual behavior, it is amazing how quickly that gets fixed. Because intimacy really is intimate. You're not making it up, and you're not creating it. You're simply tapping into it. So it's been there all along, waiting to be experienced. So even after 20 years of not being intimate, it takes only a few weeks of getting into the habit of intimacy, because it has its own power. It's like, how long does it take to go back to being natural after not being natural for many years? Not being natural takes a lot of effort. Going back to being natural, you have natural gravity on your side. It draws you. It works for you. So don't be discouraged. It's never too late. And it's not a long uphill battle if you're both working together. Getting the other to cooperate, that might be a battle. But then you got to use your wisdom.
And if one of the couple, not both, choose to participate, are we going to talk about throughout the course ways that you can help bring your spouse along with you for the journey, how you can kind of initiate or help them understand through what we're learning here on the webinars? I'm
assuming and I'm hoping that the the intuitive wisdom of it. In other words, if you really understand it and it really makes sense to you, it's so much easier to bring other people along. If it's dogmatic, if it's simply, this is the way it's supposed to be, these are the rules, we're going to follow rules, you're going to get a lot of resistance. But if what you're saying is appealing and makes sense intuitively, it feels right, it sounds true, it's much easier to bring people along. So the more sense it makes to you, the better you understand it, the more clearly you see it, the easier it is to convince others. So yes, we're going to do that.
Thank you so much. Before I get to the next question, I did have someone write in. I want to say to Rabbi Friedman that while the world is so harsh, my soul has felt at home here today. He made me cry and really trust again. So thank you so much. That was really, really nice.
So there's the intuitive appreciation. We haven't really explained much, and yet already intuitively we know that there's something here and we want it.
Absolutely. In answer to this question, each of the classes is going to be 1 full hour, and then the last class for the Q&A is going to be 2 full hours, and that will just be you and Rabbi Friedman interacting together. Unfortunately, I won't be there. Well, I might tune in to listen, but there won't be a back and forth between Rabbi Friedman and I. It'll be a back and forth between Rabbi Friedman and the audience. So questions will be able to come in, and you'll be able to listen to the full hour class there. Okay, we're going to get to some more questions here. I do want to remind everyone, if you've signed up and you've grabbed your spot, just come back and let me know so that I can welcome you. And if you're having any difficulties registering, before we close up the webinar tonight, I want to make sure that we have your name and telephone number so that somebody can get back to you and we make sure that we reserve your spot. Rabbi Friedman, we did have several questions that also came in ahead of time. And again, thank you so much to everyone who participated. We had 3,000 people sign up for today's webinar. Hundreds of people shared their biggest challenges and their questions and continue to share their questions here. So again, thank you so much. We had several people asking about being married for 30, 40, 50 years, thank God. Once you hit a certain age, it seems that the intimate relationship is not as easy, not as comfortable, not as pleasurable or enjoyable, and it seems that people are distancing or being distanced at that time. Can we address those issues, and are we going to talk a little bit more about that again during the course? Is this something that we can address for all age groups and for people married for 6 months up to 60 years?
Let's just say that intimacy is not about anything. We get used to things. We did things a certain way. We used to do certain things, and now there are things that we don't do because we're older, we're tired. So the things change, but the person doesn't change, and the intimacy becomes deeper. Naturally speaking, as we get wiser and more mature, we do become more intimate, because you outgrow the many things that distract you when you're younger. In fact, our grandparents, our great-grandparents back in the old home, in the old country, they had so little. There were so few things in their life. They had each other. And so for them it was so much easier to get past all things and just connect to each other and appreciate having each other. Life today is much more confusing. There are so many things that vie for our attention, so many things that get in the way. Sexual performance has become a disaster, distraction. Love has become a distraction. If I don't love you anymore, then what do I need you for? Now, how's that for a put down? I don't need you, I need love. That's a terrible misunderstanding of what a relationship really should be. So we have so many wrong concepts, we have so many things in our lives that we get very attached to, and they so easily get in the way. And we end up being married to those things and not to the person you're married to. But as you get older, those things, hopefully, as our wisdom grows, things fall aside. We don't need so many things. We're not so easily impressed with things. We get more fun. Let me tell you this really interesting survey, briefly. They did a survey about 1,000 people, and they asked, if you knew that you had only 1 year to live, what would you do? And people responded. Most of them said they would travel, they would go see places and do things and so on. Then, without having warned them, they asked them a second question. If you had only a month left to live, what would you do? People answered, and they noticed that it was basically a shorter version of the original answer. Obviously, you can't see as many places in a month as you can in a year, so they basically cut down the travel, the experiences, and they picked the ones that they felt were more necessary or interesting and so on. Then they surprised them again and said, if you had 1 week, what would you do? And what's interesting is the answer to that question was completely different. It had no resemblance to the earlier answers. All of a sudden, travel was not interesting, not necessary. They didn't want to go anywhere. They just wanted to make sure that the people in their lives knew that they loved them. Completely different. So with wisdom, things fall away. What's really important becomes obvious. So with age, we become more intimate, not less. And the intimacy is more about each other and less about things that they used to do or they were able to do and now they can't do. So let it happen. Don't fight it. Don't try to stay young by persisting in the same activities or in the same things. Age gracefully. It's a good thing.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to read this. MF said, thank you so much, Rabbi Friedman. Today has been my lucky day. I'm so glad that I was able to join in on this webinar. It's already starting to change my perspective. So thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful to hear. As we get ready to go ahead and close up in the next 10 minutes or so, I will continue to get to as many questions as possible. I also urge you to, if you have any questions or need technical help signing up and registering, of the ability to see your contact details. So please leave your name and your telephone number right in your question box. We will be happy to give you a call, or if you'd like an email, we'd be happy to give you an email with the link, the direct link for you to sign up. But I just want to make sure we don't miss anybody or you lose the opportunity to get your spot and the special discounted rate from attending today, because you are here and we want to go ahead and give you that special rate. Rabbi Friedman, we had where one spouse was more interested in pursuing a physical relationship than the other, and not only is that extremely painful, but how can two spouses take that place that they are at that moment and, you know, create a deeper connection when one spouse is interested and one spouse is not?
Well, one of the benefits, maybe incidental, one of the benefits of understanding and appreciating what real intimacy is that the physical activity, the physical relationship between husband and wife can become burdensome. We can lose interest. We can lose confidence, and therefore try to avoid physical relationships. Intimacy doesn't have those problems. You don't lose confidence. It doesn't get boring, and you certainly don't use it as a weapon. So it could be that if we simply switch from thinking of sexual activity to intimacy, that could solve the problem right there. What I'm saying is, I can imagine a man not being interested in sex anymore, but intimacy is always welcome and always pleasant. So that itself could solve the problem. The problem could be physical, the problem could be emotional, and that would mean you have to go to a professional, you have to get some medical help. But the main thing is, you never step away from the relationship, from the marriage, because one partner has a problem that you don't share. Marriage means you share everything, not just your space in the house, and not just your income. You share everything. So if your spouse is having a problem, don't step away and say, well, I'm fine. The problem is not mine. Stay related. Stay in the relationship. Don't get turned off. Don't get defensive about it. Work together. Be supportive. And if there's a need for medical intervention, then fine, find it, like any other medical problem. But don't let this become an estrangement. Don't take it as a personal rejection. And certainly don't ever use it as a form of rejection or punishing. So hang in there, try the intimacy switch, and if that doesn't work, then it's a medical issue.
Great, thank you so much. Sorry, it just looks like another question was coming in about balance and how to balance work and children and household activities and responsibilities and finances and everything that comes along with a wonderful marriage, how to balance that all and still have place, time, energy for intimacy.
Another one of the prices we pay for modern life. You know, in Jewish life, in halachic life, husband and wife are physically intimate for 2 weeks out of the month and are physically separated for 2 weeks out of the month. And when people hear this, they're shocked. That's half your life. So for 2 weeks out of every month you can't be intimate? That's horrible. But then when you ask them, how often are you intimate? Often their answer is, once a month if we're lucky. That's the price you pay for modern life. You're exhausted, you're distracted, you're busy. It's terrible. No marriage can survive that. To be intimate once a month, if you're lucky, that's disastrous. Again, if you think of it as an activity, like something you have to schedule and put on your calendar, you're not going to find time for it. But intimacy is not an activity. It's a state of being. You come home and you go into your bedroom and you have each other. That's intimacy. Whatever expression it takes, whatever form it takes, you have each other. And the pleasure of that should never be lost. So when you come home and you go into the bedroom and close the door, you're being intimate. You're enjoying each other, having each other, knowing that you have each other. And then, of course, if it expresses itself physically, that's magnificent. That's wonderful. But in thinking of it as an activity, it becomes another performance or another duty that you have no time for, you have no energy for. So again, that might be solved simply by understanding the difference between intimacy and physical activity. This is all part of the need for this program, the need for this wisdom, because we are suffering in so many ways. We got to fix it. Got to fix it. One bedroom at a time.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up. I do see some more people to welcome, so thank you so much. LC, FG, CY, and PM. Thank you. Welcome. We're glad to have you aboard. If there's anyone else who's just registered or secured their spot, please come back and let me know if I missed you. I'd love to be able to welcome you. Oh, AM, welcome, wonderful. Okay,
as we PM and AM.
As we go ahead and get ready to close up here, welcome RS and MS. That's wonderful to have another couple of on board. So Rabbi Friedman, I'd like to go ahead and just turn the microphone back over to you for a few minutes for some closing statements, anything else you'd like to share, and I would say encourage everyone who's still here. We've still got hundreds of people joining us right now on the line, and anything that you can leave us with to help I guess help make this seem, I know you mentioned it a few times, that this process isn't difficult, lengthy, certainly not like dieting, which I can relate to as well, but if you can leave us with some words of encouragement, that would be great.
What is it so exciting, at least to men, to have their team win? You root for your team. Or in the Olympics, you root for your country. Or in politics, you vote for your party. Your party, my team. It's not your team. You happen to live in that city or in that state. It's not your team. Very likely you've never even seen any of the players on your team. And yet you feel this this association, this loyalty, this connection to my team, my home team, my country, my political party. When you see people very passionate about these things, they're looking for intimacy. They need to belong. They need to be part of something bigger than themselves, beyond themselves. It really should happen at home. Your spouse is your spouse, my wife, my husband. That's not possessive. It doesn't mean you belong to me. It means I am not me without you. And the same with our children. My child, my son, my daughter. It's not a possessive my. It means you are my identity. I'm not me without you. How do we get to that? How do we have that kind of connection, that kind of relationship, permanent, secure, reliable, dependable, where you don't ever have to think about it, where there is no possibility that your spouse is going to be distracted by someone else because you don't live up to expectations, because you don't have the things that we expect from people? How do we get past things in a society that is constantly bombarding us with the message? You need this, and you need that, and you have to have, and this is to die for, and this you deserve, and this you must buy, and this you must. How do we get past all that? How do we get back to being human and connecting to the human in our spouse? We're so desperate for it, and it's so sad to not have it when it is so easily available. And the Torah devotes a lot of attention to this subject, knowing that it is so easy to get distracted. So let's get on the bandwagon here. Let's get to where we really are more than ourselves, bigger than ourselves, and are becoming one, more and more united with the one person who is essential to our being, to who we are, our soul mate. Another thing we need to talk about. You see, you're not competing for a man if you're looking to get married, and you're not competing for a woman. There's one man who is meant to be your husband. Nobody else is going to marry him. He's your husband. And there's one woman that is meant to be your wife, and nobody else is running after them. It's your wife. You're going to marry her, nobody else. So don't feel like you're in competition. Don't feel like everybody else is your enemy or your competitor. Find your soulmate and become one. That's the name of the game.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Friedman, for being here with us today. And thank you, everyone, for joining in from all over the world, wherever you tuned in from. We appreciate that you spent your time here with us today. Rabbi Friedman, we really appreciate your time, your insights, your perspective, your wisdom is unmet by anyone. So thank you so much. We have so many thank yous pouring in here. Thank you, Rabbi Friedman. Truly appreciate your time and wisdom on the subject. Thank you so much. It was really touching. You definitely opened up my eyes. Thank you. Toda rabah. So for everyone here today, I appreciate you being here with us. Thank you. As I mentioned, for the next 24 hours, you will have your chance to get the discounted rate of $397, but I would definitely recommend getting on it quicker rather than later, sooner rather than later. I don't want all the spots to be taken up. And again, there are payment plan options available, as I showed you right there on the order form once you click on the register now. I'm going to leave the webinar open. We're going to go ahead and just, be on mute. You won't hear anything. There won't be any more talking, but I'll leave it open for just another 3 minutes or so in case you do need to get your name and telephone number in here for us to follow up with you if you still have questions or don't understand something. If you need help registering, please go ahead and do that now. Go right into your question box and leave your name and phone number, and we will get back to you as quickly as possible. Thank you so much, Rabbi Friedman.